Hello friends, welcome back to the Craft Castle. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really simple and easy cake topper. We are going to be doing a Mickey themed cake topper. So I'm a part of a whole bunch of beginner Cricut craft groups on the Book of Faces. I know that sounds a little weird for me. I consider myself an expert to be a part of beginner course or beginner craft groups. But the reason why I am is because I always like to see what other people that are just learning their Cricuts, like what are they wanting to learn. And recently I was in one of the groups. I had gotten a notification or something, and someone was asking how to make a Mickey cake topper. They were a beginner, they didn't really know how to do it, and somebody offered to make them the design for a boatload of money. And that just like broke my heart, because it is really simple once you just know how to do a few clicks and how to do a little bit of searching. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to learn how to make just a basic simple cake topper that you could use for an event that you are holding, or you can even sell these as well. And not only are we going to be doing a basic cake topper, but I'm going to take this same cake topper, and in a later video I'm going to turn it into a shaky cake topper. I actually have it right here. It's this one right here. So our cake topper is just going to look just like this, today's cake topper. It won't have the shaker addition to it. So it's just going to be like a flat cake topper. This one is a shaker. There's a little bit of foam. There's a little bit of confetti in here. I underfilled it, but this is what we're going to be making minus the shaker. It's very simple, very easy. And if you have Cricut Design Space and you pay for access, you'll be able to access pretty much what we got going on here. I think I did pay for the Mickey cutout a long time ago, back when they did not have Design Space access. So that might be something that you would have to purchase. Otherwise, I'm sure you can find those SVG files if you didn't want to create your own on Etsy. But you can find all of this on Design Space. The fonts that I'm going to be using are downloaded fonts. I will put the link of them in the description of this video. You can download them. One of them is called Waltograph, and it's this one right here. And then I don't remember what I used for this one, but it is a downloaded font for the number. Again, everything will be linked. If I'm using it, don't worry, I'll link it down in the description of this video. Okay, let's get started. You can see that I also have a computer on right there. I'm printing some stickers for my husband for our glitter cardstock company, so I have to make sure that printer stays on while I'm up here working with y'all. Okay, so this is the cake topper. This is going to be your finished cake topper. I already have designed it just because I want to make sure that it's going to look good for us at the very end. So I am just going to select all, and I'm going to move this down because we don't need that, because I'm going to create a whole new one for you. It's helpful though that I have this, because like I said earlier, I don't know what font I use. The quick and easy trick for this, and you can do this with anything, is if I click this number 2, sometimes this won't pop up if you welded it. Let's see, right here. Where is it? It's somewhere. Anyway, if I welded this and it would say a welded cut, so it wouldn't give you the name of the font. So the quick and easy trick to this, let me move myself up. Click on the number and then right click on there on your highlighted thing and press image info. And see how it says the font that I use. So that's like a quick and little trick right there, but I mean, it obviously told us. Maybe if we do it like this. Okay, this is a text offset. Let's go right click, image info. Hope it doesn't have anything. Anyway, I swear it works. I swear it works. I don't know why it's doing that. Where did all my stuff go? Okay. My goodness, we are on a Design Space is like crazy right now. Okay, so this is what our finished cake topper is going to look like. Let's just start making this cake topper, the same exact cake topper. So the font that I used is called Grilled Cheese. Let's put in our text box. So just click on this text box right here. This box is going to pop up, and I'm going to use the number 2. You can use any number that you would like. If you are going to want to learn how to make the shaker cake topper for the next video, just do the number 2 for right now. Once you get the basics down, you can do any number, any shape. You'll figure it out real quick. So I'm just going to make this any height. We'll readjust this later, but I'm going to make this any height, and I am going to go up here to the fonts and just put in grilled cheese. And then grilled cheese is popped up. Ooh, it got really big, so I'm going to make that really small because I don't need it that big. I'm not worried about sizing right now because, again, we'll resize that later. I'll just put it right, keep myself right there. Okay, and then let's go find this Mickey. So go over into images and just put in Mickey. Now Design Space has, look at this, 234 results of all these Mickeys, that's great. You don't even have to go searching for it. You can purchase it. You can see I've already purchased some, and then these ones I have not purchased. You could, if you wanted to, you could purchase these straight from Design Space, and then you would have it for yourself forever. Just scroll around until you find one that you're looking for. That's the one that I use, so that's the one that I'm going to click, and then just press Add to Canvas. We're not really worried about sizing right now, so we'll just leave him over to the side. Okay, do you see how I have a red 2, and then one that's an offset, and then another offset behind that? Cricut has this new cool, easy feature, I love it, where we're just gonna offset things. So we're gonna highlight the number 2. Let's make this red for right now. Highlight it again, and then press offset. Let it load. You can tell right here at the little arrow loading bar that it is loading. And I did not have like a specific size. I just kind of take this scroll bar and I make it a size that I would like. So today I'm going to do it like that, and I'm just going to press apply. It looks like it's 0.15. Press apply. Again, this just goes back to whatever personal preference that you would like. Okay, so I'm going to need one more. This one's going to be our yellow one. So now it's black. We'll just change this color to yellow. Okay, then highlight that yellow one again, and we're going to go do another offset, and I'm going to keep it the same size as what I did before, which is 0.153. If you've already done one offset, it should already be loaded in there. If not, this is a perfect time for you to get a pen and a piece of paper out so you don't forget what offset numbers you have. I have a memo pad full of like random offsets. Sorry. Make sure that if that computer goes off, those stickers quit printing. I have a memo pad full of offsets that I use for different projects, because sometimes Cricut does not remember, the Design Space does not remember what offset number that you've used. And so if you go back in and you try and do a number 1 for a new cake topper in the same theme, you're gonna have to figure out the new offsets all over again. So 1.5 or 0.153 is what I used, and just press apply. Okay, and we're going to keep that black just like in the original one. It's all going to be centered, which is, I like that feature. So we're going to just take this and then select them all, and then press, just right click and press group. Okay, now we're going to send this to the back. So arrange and go send it to the back. And that, it looks like it didn't do anything, but now Mickey's going to be on top. If we didn't do that, let me go back. If we didn't do that, Mickey's going to be on the bottom, and then you won't be able to see him. So we're just going to select him and go to the back. Now we're going to bring Mickey, and we're just going to arrange him on any size. Remember what I had said earlier, we're not really worried about like the actual dimensions of things. Right now we're just worried about the sizing of how it looks. We will proportion this later when we get done with the design process. So I'm just going to rearrange him any way that you would like. Let's big him up just a little bit. I'm going to make him a little bit bigger. Okay, so we're going to keep him like that. He's starting to be really cute. Now I have the little name right here, which is going to be another text box, so just press text. And we'll do William again. And this one's going to be the Waltograph. I had to click out of it to delete that box. Otherwise it'll still be a text box. So you want to click out of it so you can move it. And then I'm going to go back up into this font box right here, and I'm going to put in Waltograph, or just Walt. And the UI is the one that I'm using. Was it? Nope, it wasn't. It was the other one. It was regular Waltograph. Okay, I'm going to resize it again, just putting it over here. Okay, I want to do, I know in the original file that I have down here, there's no offset, but then in this shaker one, there is. I actually like that there is a little bit of an offset on that too. So before I do that, do you see how this I and this W is touching? We're going to slide it over to the right, and we're just going to go over here and press ungroup. And I'm just going to readjust these to where it's not touching any longer, just because nothing else is touching. So why would that W and that I touch? I don't know, but that's just what it is. So don't weld this together. Select all. It's all ungrouped. Go up here to offset. See how it's already put to 0.153? That looks like a pretty decent offset right there. But if you don't like that, then you can just scroll down. You can also put in another number if you wanted to. Let's do the ones. I love the number 1. That's my favorite number. And then we'll just press apply. Now, hold on. Let's go back for a second. If you wanted to individually have individual offsetted letters, this is where you would unclick that welded offset. But because I want the back of my name, William, to be all one solid piece, which I'm gonna peel off my cake topper so I can show you. Maybe not. I used some pretty strong glue for this. Okay. Okay, so this is what we're looking for, is like one long solid piece, versus if you turn it around, William, the W-I, all that, the white, what's white, that is all individual pieces. So if you wanted to keep them as an individual pieces, unclick that welded offset. If you want it to be like one long continuous piece, just like the black, then you want to keep this welded offset and then press apply. And I'm just going to glue this back on there, because I need this to be back. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay, now that we have that that offset, go back over into this little area right here and click and press shift. So hold down shift and then click everything that is supposed to be inside of that text. So William, and it's gray, like a charcoal gray right now. We are going to go up here to color and we're going to change it to white. And then we can select all of that and go over to group, or you can just right click and then, oops, it's blocking it now, but if you can right click as well. If we're selecting all of this, right click and press, well, now it's grayed out, but you could have pressed group here, or you could do it here. So there's 2 different ways of doing that. We're going to drag this back over on top, and we're just going to place it wherever we would like, wherever it looks good. I think it looks good right here. I know some people that put them, you know, in the middle. You can do wherever you want. Okay, so the question I get a lot, like a lot, is what size cake topper is a normal size cake topper? There is not a one size fits all. What I always suggest is knowing what size cake you're going to be using, and then that's the size that you would make your cake topper. So let's say you're doing a 6-inch round cake. You don't want to make your cake topper 4 inches because it's going to be way too small. And then if you are using a 6-inch round and you make a 9-inch wide cake topper, that's going to be way too big. So knowing what size cake topper you're using is the best, and then you can go from there. If it's like a 6-inch cake round, then I'm going to be doing about 5.5. That's what I like. That's like my magic number. I have 6-inch rounds here for photography, so I always make my cake toppers 5.5 to 6 inches, depending on the height of the cake topper. Sometimes cake toppers are really short, and so if you make it 5.5, it looks kind of chintzy. So I make it 6 inches, so it's a little bit taller, but it actually fills up the cake a little bit more. So knowing the size of cake round that you're using, or any, if you're doing a sheet cake, obviously you're gonna want like a larger cake topper for that. If you're doing this for an order, I can tell you that there is like no standard size. Someone that I make it, you know, a particular size for my shop just for photography reasons. But then like in my DMs and my messages, people always ask me, oh, I'm doing a 9-inch cake run. Can you make this larger? I'm only using a smash cake that's 4 inches. Can you make it smaller? So once you get the file finished, resizing isn't that big of an issue, which is what I'm going to show you right here. But just know, whatever size cake topper or cake you're using, that's where you want to base your sizing off of. So I am going to select all. We are going to make this cake topper 6 inches. That's the cake topper size I want. Make sure this is locked. It's also right here. Make sure that's locked. I am very, very, very picky when people resize things and they're like, and they try and do, you know, unproportioned resizing. It like drives me bananas. So we are going to just make sure this is locked, and I'm going to change my width to this to 6 inches. We're going to have to readjust that here in a second, but at least you kind of get the gist of what we're going for here. So 6 inches. Now that everything is where I would like it to be, I'm not going to readjust anything. I want Mickey to be where Mickey's supposed to be, and I want the William to be where it is. You're not going to be able to see that in this next step, but it's just, that's the way I want it to be, right? So with it all selected, you're going to go back up into, oh, I'm sorry. With it all selected, you're going to go to duplicate. And you're going to get a whole nother one. I know. Like, why do we need another one? We're going to do a whole nother one, and I'm going to weld that together. Everything is going to get welded together. This is going to be your very back spot. So when you're building your cake topper, you're going to have this, and then you're going to have all these pieces that you're going to build on top. Now, the trick on making the most beautiful cake topper is, do you see how there is like no stick on the back of it? There's no stick. There's actually 2 backer pieces to this. And this is how you're going to do it. You're just going to take your weld, press duplicate, and then you want to flip this. So flip horizontal. The reason why you're doing this is sometimes it doesn't matter how new your Cricut mat is or how old your Cricut mat is. I mean, I have the nastiest mats ever, and I also use brand new mats. But no matter what, how old or new your mat is, you always get like, I don't know if you can tell in this video, but it's like rough. It's not cute. It's not, you can see like where the cutting is. You can tell that there's a difference. I'll show you later when we get into the assembling portion of it. When you mirror this, you're just going to sandwich all of that ugly in between, and then you'll never see the ugly. So always, always, always do another backer piece and then mirror. Don't forget to mirror. Now you are left with 2 backer pieces, 1 you're going to build on top of, and then your mirrored one to sandwich all the ugly in. And then you have Mickey, and you have your number with the 3 layers, and then your name with a welded, and then the and then what is that? And then the 2 welded names with 2 layers of name. There we go. Oh my goodness. Okay, I am going to delete this, and I'm going to I'm actually not. Let me see. I'm going to turn around. Okay, so here is the other thing too, is for this project, I want the number to be all glitter and then Mickey to be in flat cardstock. Let's delete this. If I were to go over into the Make It screen, you're going to have William and the gloves of Mickey and his little dots for his shorts. They're all going to be that plain white. This is all going to be black, like that plain black. So I kind of want to avoid that because I don't want to use glitter cardstock for the back of the cake topper because that's a waste. I mean, you could. I have seen people do that. I just think because glitter cardstock is so expensive that I'm not going to use that for the backer pieces. And then over here, like this, I want this to be a glitter number, but this I don't want. So you're going to have to like separate those when you're in the cut screen. So instead of doing that, let's just press cancel. I'm going to put these over here. Okay, so ungroup that and then ungroup that. For the white, it'll probably be less, it would be easier if I just picked the Mickey because there's less pieces. And I'm gonna highlight his gloves and I'm gonna change it just to the advanced. I'm gonna just change it to a different shade of white. Now, if you can't remember, just take a little note, like a little post-it note, and scribble down. I have it here for that shaker that I made. I have it here where like light gray is white glitter. So I kind of make myself notes so I don't forget like what paper goes to what. Then we're gonna go into red and I'm gonna change his red to more of a different shade of red. And then we're gonna do, why do I have two black Mickeys? I'm just gonna hide one. There's that. And I'm gonna change that to a charcoal color. And then that's gonna be your matte black. And I'm gonna select both of these. I'm gonna press shift, and then just select both these. I'm also gonna change that to a charcoal color. And then I think that is it. So let's go back over into the Make It screen. William is in white. Mickey's going to be in plain white. The name and the number is going to be in glitter black cardstock. Both backers and Mickey's going to be in plain black. Mickey's tongue. Oop, we forgot to change the yellow, so we'll just go back and we'll change his yellow over to a different shade. Go back to Make It. And everything else seems to be separated. Awesome. So we'll go back to cancel, and then I am going to save this. Okay, 6/8 Mickey topper. Okay, go back to Make It. Now, if you've written all of your notes down, make sure that you have all the correct papers. Cut this out. I'm going to use glitter cardstock and regular cardstock for this. Cut this out and then meet me back here and we will go ahead and assemble this all together. I will see you in a minute. Now that you got everything cut off, I always like to keep the lettering on my mat just so I don't lose them. I should have done that with all the rest of these small little pieces, but I always do it for my fonts. This is going to be that shaker topper that we're going to work on a different day, but these should be all of your pieces. So you should have a black, a yellow, a red, two of those backer pieces, one that looks great from one side and one that's mirrored. We have a glitter black name shadow with the white glitter name shadow or white glitter name, and then all your Mickey pieces right here. So the rest of this cake topper, all you are going to need, I like to use hot glue to put my wood stick on. So I'm gonna use a hot glue gun just because it dries quick and strong. And then I'm using Precision Tight Supercraft glue. It has a really nice fine tip on there, especially with the small little pieces. This is perfect for this. I love this. The glue is also amazing too. It's super strong. So I'm also going to use this to glue glitter on glitter, and you will see it's so strong. Okay, so let's work on the Mickey first because he has the smallest pieces. Oh, also I use this is also for rhinestones as well, but I use it for paper. It's just a little wax tip right here. It doesn't go away. I'm just gonna remold it to where it's a little bit more of a pointed edge to the very top, so it'll be smaller to pick up these small little pieces. But this is what I use to pick up those really, really small pieces. You could do it for the Mickey if you wanted to. I'm just going to make sure it's not backwards. I'm just gonna give it a whole lot of glue. The beauty about this glue is you don't need a whole lot of glue. Like that is way too much. It's like perfect. I think it's probably way too much. The idea with glue is you don't need a whole lot for it to stick. I mean, paper is supposed to lay down flat, so it's okay if you don't over flood because you don't want it to take forever for it to dry. We're just going to put that right here. Like that's a good amount of glue right there. It's hard to tell on the white paper, but that's a good amount of glue. You're just using little dots. Line that up. Mickey. See? See how I'm just doing small little dots? You don't need a whole lot of glue. Sometimes I watch people when they're gluing their stuff together. I'm like, wow, that's a ton of glue. You don't need a whole lot of glue, especially with this stuff. Okay, so for the very, very small pieces right here, instead of gluing the backs of the piece of paper, I am just gonna take my precision tip, make sure that there's no glue, like glue, you know, the hardened glue on there, dried on there, and I'm just gonna put a little dab of glue in the spots that I need it to be. I'm gonna use my little picker-upper tool and just place the tongue where that needs to go. And then just pick up one dot, put that where it needs to go. And then another dot. There we go. Okay, our Mickey is done. That was super simple. There's no extra glue running around anywhere. Even if there was, this glue does dry clear, so it wouldn't leave any mess on it, but there is no extra glue anywhere. Perfect. Okay, moving on to the cake topper. This mirrored one, we want to set to the side. Now, remember when I said when you cut, everything looks ugly on the back of it? Let's look at the back of this one. You see where there's like a little tear right here? I'm going to trim that off with scissors. But like, there is just, this would probably be acceptable, but I can just see the cuts. I mean, this is nitpicky, but if you're selling a cake topper, you want the back to look just as amazing as the front. So like, there is just gonna be a little bit of like a raised edge right here in the corner. It kind of popped a little bit. And then if you look on the back of this, see how it just kind of has like some glitter to it. This is the residue from my mat and it's perfectly clean, but you can see how it's just like this is gross. So if this is the back of your cake topper, it would be really gross. So that's why I always mirror it. So we're gonna keep this one to the side. Make sure that whatever's mirrored, we're gonna save that for the very last. I'm gonna get some scissors. I'm just gonna trim the inside of this little piece. It won't be seen from the other side after we're done. I'm just gonna trim that. Going this way, my goodness. Okay, we're gonna start with a black piece. We're gonna put the black piece down. I'm just gonna take a bead of glue, and I always just go around. I don't really focus on the inside much. I just go on the outside perimeter of everything. And line up your two with the very back of that. Because you did not create an offset with this, you're just gonna make sure that everything is where it needs to go and there's no overhangs anywhere else. See how now that we cut this, see that like little white? You're gonna see that if you were to put your cake stick right here, you would see the cake stick, you would also see that white. That's what we're gonna try and avoid when we did that mirror. The next layer is going to be the yellow. Same deal. Oh, see that tear? That was your bottom layer, you would see that. So I want to express the importance of doing a back mirrored layer. For glitter cardstock, like glitter on glitter, I always just do a little bit more on the inside just to give it more glue to hold down. It is hard to glue glitter on glitter cardstock with each other, but using this glue right here, it's super strong. just does need a little bit more glue than a normal cardstock on plain cardstock glue. But there's that. Here's the red, that's our next layer. And then I'm gonna go back in and just do another little bead of glue. Center that on there as best as possible. I'm just gonna give it a good flatten. Okay, now with our Mickey, see how if we put our Mickey down like this, it's gonna be perfect. So flip our Mickey over. We're just gonna get a little bit of glue. Some of the Mickey is gonna be on top of glitter cardstock, so you're gonna wanna do a little bit more glue. And get his little tail. I'm like not even squeezing the glue bottle when I went over his tail. There's that. We're gonna flip him back over and we are gonna line him up as best as possible with that back shadow. Because you're working with this wet glue, you can move it for a little bit before it starts to cure and dry. Oh my goodness, it's looking so cute. Okay, we'll set this over to the side and we'll glue the William together now. So again, if you wanted to, you could pick these up and glue from the back like I did all the rest of these. You could glue from the back, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my precision glue, and I kind of know, like, especially if you're doing an offset, you kind of know like where the font will lie. And the beauty about this glue is because it dries clear, I'm gonna dab away the excess glue and then you'll never see it. So that's kind of what I want it to look like. Just do a little bit more on the bottom. I'm gonna take my little spatula, pick that up, and I'm gonna place it down there. Don't worry about getting the rest of the glue, like the overhang glue right now. We're gonna get it all in a second. Okay, now that we have that all placed, there is a little bit of extra glue in certain areas. I just always make sure your palm is clean, and I just kind of flatten it down, and then now there's glue on the base of my palm. I just kind of rub that off. I'm gonna do it with the next palm. There's a little bit of glue, leftover glue. Okay, now with a spatula, I'll be able to pick this up. And any other glue that you see on there, it will just dry clear, but for the most part, outside of inside that A, everything else is gone. And that'll dry clear. I'm gonna flip this around to the back. And because we're doing glitter on glitter again, I'm just gonna do a little bit more glue than I would if I was just using a plain cardstock, gluing onto plain cardstock. And we're gonna place that. I like that look. Looking good. Okay, now to do the finishing touches. Adding your stick. We're going to close this up. If you're using this glue, I always clear that very top portion of that needle to make sure there's no extra wet glue on the top of that, because the pin cap on this bottle is in the top. If you have wet glue on the tip of your needle and you put that on there and you go to use it the next time, it'll dry together. Fun fact. So just make sure that that tip is clean. Okay, so this is what our topper looks like. Now to finish it off, we are going to, if you glued this to this, it's going to be wrong, correct? So we're just gonna flip that over. All the ugliness is right here. If we flip this one over, it's not bad, but you can still see some white. It's kind of, you know, again, we're just being real nitpicky here. We're gonna flip that back over. I'm gonna take my little hot glue. I'm gonna center it, just eyeballing it in the center of my cake topper and just placing the stick on there. Hot glue does dry pretty quick, so you're gonna wanna move pretty quick for that. This hot glue gun that I have is adjustable heat temp, so it doesn't give you blisters when you touch it. I have it at a very low setting, so my glue dries a little bit quicker than a normal hot glue gun does, but I also never get blisters, which is wonderful. Okay, I shut this too quick. This is drying just a little bit longer. As that dries, I'm gonna take my glue and I'm gonna go around the perimeter of the cake topper. Close this back up. Okay. And then taking your hot glue again, go over your stick. I always like to push down and kind of slide it so you don't get that string from your hot glue. And I always like to go on the inside as well, just to give it a little bit more stability. See, and I didn't push down and drag enough, so I have this string. Okay, same thing as you did before with the back layer. We are lining it up. And you kind of have to work quick because we had hot glue on there. So you want to work pretty quick. And there we go. So now the ugly cake stick is covered and that string that I didn't take care of. The ugly cake stick is covered and then that back of the white is all gone. But there you go. Now you have a cake topper that you've made. There's a little bit of curling right here. So what I'm going to do, I must have not focused on the glue too much. So I'm just going to put my, lift it up just a little bit, put my glue in there and just squeeze a little bit of glue at the very edge of that and then just press down. There is a little bit of glue that's coming out there. So same as like you did with your palm, just take your finger and swipe the extra glue. And we're just going to flatten that down. And now it's gonna lay perfectly flat down. If there's any other raised areas, just do the same thing. But that's why you kind of wanna focus on the outer perimeter of everything. But that is your cake topper, look at that. Okay, so now that we have this finished cake topper, in the next day or so, we will then do this same cake topper, but make it into a shaker. All right, y'all, I will see you soon.